All right. Hey, Homebound parents. I have my son Cash here, who's super excited to do this, but I appreciate you doing it, even though you're not in love with the idea. But the hope here is to share how to use inquiry as a way to explore and learn about the world together. Again, our role as home educators doesn't need to be to force kids to sit down and do worksheets under threat of punishment. The much better way to prepare our kids for the future is to explore the world with them, and to give them space to have us not messing with their space all the time. We have a role to play in allowing space and then in sharing, exploring the world together. And Cash this morning was making oatmeal and asked the question from the kitchen. Do you remember what the question was?
Like I said, does cooking oatmeal give it more calories or nutrients?
Right. So you said initially calories, and then when we talked about it further, you said that you had heard that kind of cooking food adds nutrients or something, and then we were kind of exploring that. So Cash just had a question about, there's so much science and physics and all kinds of stuff in there that we could explore. Now the thing is that kids who have been to school, when you say, ooh, that sounds interesting, let's explore that, will often turn around and say, no, that sounds, basically, whatever words they use, it'll be, that sounds like school, and I don't like school. And so it can take a while to get into the rhythm of actually exploring things just because they're interesting and doing that exploration. So anyway, we're going to play a little bit with this as an entry point to understanding our world better. So the reason you asked that question is because you had heard about nutrients being changed or added or whatever by cooking.
Yeah.
Right. And so one of the things we talked about is how calories is a measure of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now look, that's a piece of information that I know, but there's plenty that I don't know. And so I'm able to offer that as part of the team of exploring here. That's a piece I do know. He knows stuff I don't know, and we'll put that all on the table and figure it out together. So that's an interesting question to me. What I wonder is, and by the way, you can keep track of questions as they come up, during the day or the week, and just say, hey, everybody, how about we keep a list of the questions that we all ask about our world, and then when we have time or interest, or we find something that answers them, we kind of dive into that further together when it feels right. And then you can also, every entry point into interest will develop new wonderings, which you can also track. So one of the things I wonder about that is, boy, is it possible to add energy to food by cooking it? Because of the law of conservation of energy, right? Have you heard of that? You can either create or destroy energy, just distribute it. And so if you're using heat, which is energy, could that, through a chemical reaction in the food, actually add energy to the food? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it probably can.
Why? What, like, any bit of
Add
information?
energy, or you mean calories?
Well, yeah, calories is a measure of energy.
I don't think no. I think you can alter it by adding energy, but I don't know if it absorbs the energy.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what I was thinking, which is that, so batteries produce energy by basically going through a chemical reaction.
Yeah.
Two sides of the battery have different chemicals, and when you allow them to connect to each other, they go through a chemical reaction that releases energy.
Yeah.
Well, the way you charge a battery is that you put energy into the system, and then the chemical reaction goes in the other direction, the reaction that takes energy.
Yeah.
And so I just wondered if in food you could kind of put energy in and make it go through a chemical reaction that actually puts it in a higher energy state, so that when we eat it, it has more energy available to us when we digest it.
Yeah,
So we could answer that somehow, right? But not either of us at this table. So that would be a question if we're sitting around talking where we go, hey, we don't between us know the answer to that question, but it seems feasible that that could be true, right? So we would maybe put that on our list of, hey, let's explore that. I'm super interested in that, and I'm going to see if I can find the answer. Cash might or might not be, but I bet he'll be interested in the answer if I find it. Yeah? So what's anything that you wonder or any other thoughts about that? You had mentioned nutrients.
Yeah, but I was wondering, like, fire puts more energy in the atoms, right? Heat and the atoms will move. They move faster.
The electrons move. Yeah, I think.
So I was wondering, like, what do you think that would do to the food?
Well, it cooks it.
Yeah. So energy.
Well, yeah. So I don't think heat adds energy to food. I mean, it does in terms of if we eat hot food. I think that would actually take some of our energy because we'd have to dissipate that heat.
Yeah.
Heat is one form of energy. I don't think heat is a form of energy we can turn into energy we can use. So if we eat if we eat some hot food, I don't think that gives us more energy than cold food.
Yeah.
I actually would hypothesize that it would actually be a net less energy for us because we have to use energy to cool the food.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But what about the nutrients part? Because that's interesting. I've heard that too. If you cook food, it changes the nutrient profile of the food.
I think I heard it. Yeah. It releases some, like, it breaks bonds and you get, like, more sodium or juice.
Like cooking protein can make it potentially more available to digest.
Yeah.
Maybe, as one example. I'm not sure that that's 100% true. Because there are people that advocate a raw food diet, right? And a raw food diet, I heard, can be hard to digest. Like cooking can kind of pre-digest food in a way and require less energy. But yeah, I've heard that it makes some vitamins available if you cook it, and in other ones I've heard if you cook it, some of the vitamins you want just disappear, like they come out in the water or whatever.
Yeah.
So is there a wondering or a question or an answer there you would be willing to or interested in kind of finding the answer to? Yeah. Which one?
What does it make it easier to digest?
Oh, so does cooking food make it easier to digest? So just simple
But,
question, right?
Yeah.
You could almost put that into Google and
Yeah.
see what comes up.
You probably could.
Yeah. So shall we each? So I was going to look at what was the question I was going to look at? This is where writing them down becomes helpful, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to look into whether eating it or cooking it makes it easier to digest. And I was going to look into something else, and I'm going to roll tape back and find out what that was. And then we can share with each other what we find if we actually do the thing. So that was just an entry point into a question that somebody asked of like, oh yeah, that is interesting. And that makes me wonder this. What do you think about, and I mean, the invitation could be, hey, you want to dive into that a little bit further? And just kind of explore more about that. And sometimes the answer will be yes, and sometimes the answer will be no. That sounds horrible. And you got to honor the answer. Yeah. So another entry point in is just to simply say, hey, what do you think about sitting down and seeing what we each know about X? So it could be a current event topic, it could be a subject area, like virology, whatever.
Yeah.
Immunology, right? We could say, hey, what do we all know about what's happening right now? And share it and come up with what things do we wonder based on the questions that come out of that we could then go find answers to and come back and share. So you can do it, again, from an inquiry, a question, like Cash asked this morning, does cooking add calories?
Mhm.
Or just generally like, hey, what if we start with this provocation of a topic or a subject area and just see what happens. Willing to do one of those with me? Maybe not today, but another day?
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll
Yeah.
follow up. All right. Thanks, everybody. Good luck out there with your homebound parenting. And thank you, Cash, for being willing to sit down and do this. All right. Bye, everybody.